Welcome back to the Hit Mix Show, Top Hits, Classic Dance Tracks. Grant Galea is up next very, very shortly. Stay stuck to us. The time now is 10:28. Here's a track by Grant Galea off his latest CD. This is, you'll know this one. It's Now or Never, his version.
It's now or never. Come hold me tight. Kiss me, my darling. Be mine tonight. Tomorrow will be too late. It's now or never. My love away. When I first saw you, with your smile so tender, my heart was captured, my soul surrendered. I spent a lifetime waiting for the right time. Now that you're near, the time is here at last. It's now or never. Come hold me tight. Kiss me, my darling. Be mine tonight. Tomorrow will be too late. It's now or never. My love away. Just like a willow, we would cry an ocean if we lost true love and sweet devotion. Your lips excite me, let your arms invite me, for who knows when we'll meet again this way. Manna do sole, che bello è, oh sole mio, sta fronte a te. Oh solo mio, stai fronte a te, stai fronte a te. It's now or never, my love away. It's now or never, my love won't wait. It's now or never, my love will wait.
Alive 90.5, the Hit Mix Show on a Tuesday morning. Someone special very, very shortly. But I want to tell you a little bit about this man I was met on a cruise ship and 23 New Year's Eve. But I've known him a lot more before that, but I'll just tell you a little bit about Grant. They call him Mr. Entertainment, and performed everywhere around the world, cruise ships, clubs, his TV, he's an actor, he does everything. And Mr. Google says Grant Galea, the entertainer, is multi-talented and unique. He continues on the way after the Rat Pack left off. So he is the real deal. Grant Galea, welcome to Alive 90.5.
It's a pleasure to be here, Dom. Really is. I'm very thrilled. I've never been out this way before, and I've just learnt that this is the most one of the most popular community radio stations in Sydney, and established only in 1992. So, yeah, it is a thrill to be here, I must say.
And we were privileged to be the best radio station in Australia, community radio station, about a year or so ago.
Fantastic.
That's we do.
I'm here then.
We do a reasonable job.
Yeah.
And look, the background is amazing, mate. Movie, TV roles, GP, Water Rats, The Miraculous, Home and Away.
I did. Yeah, I did a bit of TV when I was young, acting. I went to drama school. I went to the ensemble acting school and graduated, and then I got into acting, and I always wanted to be an actor. That was my real ambition. Still is, I guess, but getting older now, and you find that, I've got an agent again, but I'm concentrating, I have been concentrating on the cabaret world because that's where I've made my money, but I'm always open to whatever roles may come along. You're never too old to be in a film or a television show, but when I went to Vegas after splitting up with the Dean and Jerry show, and then I just got the inspiration to just continue on giving people the music of, obviously from Dean Martin, but then Sinatra, Bobby Darin, all that. And then, of course, Elvis was always an inspiration to me. So I figured if I could put it all together in a show and then incorporate all the impersonations I do, which sort of uses my acting ability as well, I can come up with something unique that's not like what everyone else does. I mean, anyone can just go out and sing a song, I guess, but you've really got to entertain people and give them a smorgasbord, as they say, rather than or a minestrone, as we say in Italian, rather than
well, I tell you,
just a pasta asciutta,
You're unique, mate, because when I was on this is 2023, I was with my cousins and a couple of people, and I was on the cruise ship, and I went and saw your shows live down in the shop. Oh, amazing, mate. I
remember talking to you after when you bought a CD. Yeah,
and I just couldn't believe that. But we go back a lot of years, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something that you don't know. Because I'm 71 this year, and I was DJing in all the clubs, the main clubs in town, 5-star hotels, and I'm married to an Australian girl, but Italian origin, right? So we used to go to all the Italian weddings. So when those Italian weddings, I used to love going to them. And every time I used to go there, I used to say, I hope the Martin and Jerry show's on tonight because you were fantastic.
Martin and Jerry.
Or Jerry Martin show.
Jerry Martin. Dean and Jerry. We actually changed our name from Dean and Jerry to Martin and Lewis because there was a cheaper version getting around.
You got my comedy.
Yeah, the cheaper version. Yeah, exactly. This cheaper version were getting around and undercutting us in the Italian weddings. They lasted about as long as a snowflake in summer. But we continued on, and then after 3 years we split up. Anyway, I mean, I had a gut full of him. I got to tell you, but that's another story. And that gave me the impetus to be a solo act and just concentrate on doing my own thing, which I think is one of the best things that ever happened to me, to be honest.
Yeah. But you're everywhere around the world, really, aren't you? On all the cruise ships, you've got a lot of shows over there.
I've performed there. I've performed in Vegas, London, Los Angeles. Yeah, I've been around. I've been to a lot of places. But the ships are good because you're basically on a moving resort or a hotel or whatever. You do your show. You only do one night, and you're on there maybe 7 nights, and sometimes 14 nights, and you wake up in, one day you're in, I don't know, Fiji, the next day you're in Tahiti, or when you're doing Europe's the best. You got Italy one day, Greece the next, you could be anywhere you want to be, and it's just a few days when you're in the Mediterranean, so it's even better. But no, I love it. I love performing to the folks on the ships because you've got a big theatre, 900,000 people sitting in there in some cases more, and you've got a great band behind you, and the audience love it. It's not like when you're doing some of the clubs where people aren't really all right. They're not paying to see the show when they go on a ship, but they're paying for the actual cruise. So in a way, they are paying. It's not like you're doing a free show in some sort of lesser club where no one gives a damn who's up there. You know what I mean?
But one thing, Grant, too, you've got to remember is that they don't have to come. But every time...
They don't have to.
And every time, well, the 2 times I saw you twice, right? 1.5. And it was just packed out. So, if they're not really, don't relate to what they want to see, they won't go and see it.
They won't. And word of mouth travels too. So if you do a 7 o'clock show on a ship, people talk. And then by 2 hours later, when you're about to do your next show, 9 o'clock, you sometimes get a shock. Gee, I thought they'd be asleep, half of them, but no, the place is actually busier at 9 o'clock than it was at 7 because they've talked, and word gets around a ship very quickly.
Yeah, that's right. Now, how did it all start for you? Right back in the old days, how did it all start?
Well, you mean the singing or the...
Yeah, everything.
Okay,
Tell me a little bit about you, unless you don't want to.
No, I'm quite happy to talk about myself, like most entertainers. I was born in Paddington and grew up in Randwick, and my dad was always a big dad and mum, but Dad always used to play the records all the time. Like when we were in Cowper Street in this unit, and I was only 3 years old, and he'd play this Engelbert Humperdinck album, and it was and the song I remember was "Man Without Love," right? Every day I wake up, then I'll channel Engelbert. Lonely as a man without love. Yeah, that song, right?
Yep.
And he would play the guts out of it. And I was only 3, and I didn't know who this bloke was. And I looked at the album cover, and I saw this good-looking guy in a tuxedo with a red background. I thought, he looks pretty cool, you know, and I liked the song. And it's sort of... That was sort of an inspiration. And then, of course, Frank Sinatra. He played Sinatra constantly. This album called Sinatra at the Sands, which was a live album. My mum liked Dean Martin. My dad didn't. My dad liked Elvis, so did Mum. But I think Dad was a little bit jealous of Dean. He used to say, if he wasn't so good looking, he's not even a great singer. Sinatra's the greatest singer. Dean's not as good. And there'd be this constant argument. And Mum would go, you're just jealous because he's handsome. And funny thing is, Dad looks a lot like Dean Martin, so I don't know why he was jealous. But and there was always that rivalry between those crooners. And then, of course, Bobby Darin, who Dad played the guts out of his records. And then, so I grew up listening to a lot of that, right? So I listened to a lot of singers, and it wasn't until I got into my teenage years that I saw James Dean and Marlon Brando and, of course, Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. And then I went, wait a minute. To hell with singing. I want to be an actor. I want to be like these guys, you know. So then when I left high school, the headmaster was glad to get me out of there. I was expelled. I was suspended 3 times. I was always in trouble at school, you know, getting called a wog all the time and getting into fights every second day. So anyway, I left high school and was glad to get out of there and went straight to NIDA and auditioned for NIDA and got knocked back. And then I went to the ensemble a couple of years later, and I found that was where I wanted to study acting. And I graduated after 3 years, got into theatre, did acting, did some theatre, did a bit of TV, blah, blah. You know, the story of a struggling actor, usually hungry, more often than not. And then it was 1991. I came back from Europe. It was my grandmother's birthday, Nonna Lucia. I'm of Italian and Maltese heritage on my dad's side. And my Nonna Lucia, my parents were regulars at the Apia Club, the old Apia Club in Leichhardt. And my Nonna, it was her 80th birthday, and she said, I said to her, Nonna, do you want me to sing a song for you with a band? And I didn't even know who the band were, right? I was just going to chance it. She says, I want you to sing my favourite song from Dean Martin. My favourite singer is Dean Martin, which I used to hear all the bloody time. So I went up to the band, and at the time, the band leader was a guy called Roy Ortuzzo, who's now a promoter, Abstract Entertainment. And I walked straight up to him and I said, yeah, g'day, mate. You know, you speak English? Because I thought, you know, they're all Italians. No. Yeah, we speak English, mate. They all had Aussie accents. What do you want to do? I said, look, my nonna's driving me insane. It's her 80th. I want to sing a Dean Martin song for her. Do you know That's Amore? Of course we know That's Amore. What a stupid question. Yeah, what key, mate? I said, key? What the hell's a key? I didn't even know what key was, right? I said, I don't know.
I got one in my pocket.
Yeah. You want my car key? What are you talking about here? He goes, well, you know. I said, well, Dean Martin's key, I guess. I'll sing it like him. He goes, all right then. A minor. So the band start playing, and I start the tool ready, you know, bump, 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 bump. And I come straight in with, when the moon hits. And I wasn't even trying to sound like Dean Martin, to be honest. And then there was this guy who was managing a show at the time called Dean and Jerry. And his name, he's quite known in the Italian community.
You see, I was right, Dean and Jerry.
Yeah, it was originally Dean and Jerry. And his name was Dominic Moyo, Dominic like you, Dom. And he come up to me and he said, after I finished the song, he says, you know, you're a very good singer. You sing a lot like a Dean Martin. You look like him. We're interested in a new Dean Martin because the one we got isn't now good in this show we do in the weddings. And I went, hang on a minute. What do you mean show in the weddings? Do you get paid for these shows? Oh, yeah, you got the good money, cash. It was a cash show. I went, okay then. And you reckon I look like Dean and sound like him, do you? Oh, yeah, you look a lot like him. Anyone tell you before? I said, no, I get Elvis sometimes, and you know, but I never got Dean before. He goes, oh, well, he said, you want to do a show, we put you together with the Zageri. We get rid of the other bloke because he's no good, and we put you together. And that's how it started. And our first show was at the Concordora Lounge in Riverwood. A month after I had the conversation with this Dominic Moyo, I had a month to get ready, like to learn every song and a mannerism. And then we got up there at the Concordato Lounge. It was a wedding, and of course the Jerry was amazing. He was. He looked like him. He was talented. He just wasn't a businessman. That was his problem. But we went up there and we blitzed it. We just blew it away, and I just went wow, because I was shocked. I mean, what a response! I mean, it's a wedding show, and we had their undivided attention, which is hard to get at a wedding.
We
mate.
loved it, mate.
Yeah, and then from then on, we were just smashing it for 3 years. We were doing Italian festivals. We were doing clubs, we would corporates, we were doing everything, and lots of Italian weddings. I always say that's Amore, which I've been singing for a million years. It's launched 1,000 weddings. It really has, and it's almost like, although it was a big hit for Dean Martin, for me in Australia, it's become my signature tune. And I mean, you know, there's times when I'm singing it and I'm thinking, okay, what have I got to buy Aldi this week? Have I fed the cat? Did I leave the stove on? Things go for it, because I've sung it that many times, I could sing it backwards and sideways, you know. But the thing is, people love it. They still love it. And back then, the Dean and Jerry thing, the audience is just warm to that, because, you know, a straight man who sings romantic Italian songs, basically, which Dean Martin did, and a guy acting like a complete zany clown, like a pazzo, you know, and people just laughed all the time.
But let me tell you, Grant, you've come into the bit that I was going to move you into, Impressionist, right? As far as acts around the world, not too many are like you. Well, I mean, you can probably prove it to our listeners there after this, but you're amazing the way you go into all the different voices. Fantastic, mate. And that's what makes you so different. You are truly Mr. Cool, but cool because the way you do it.
Well, yeah, I've got this ear. I'll listen to somebody, and a famous person, they're on the TV all the time or whatever, and I'll pick up their voice or their mannerisms, and sometimes I never get it. But sometimes it takes a while. But if I make my mind up that I'm really going to get that guy down, I will get that person. And some are easier than others. Like, see, with Robert De Niro, you don't even have to talk. I just have to do his face and people laugh, which is great. Because if I've got laryngitis, I don't have to go into the voice, you know, like, hey, look at me. Look, Dom, I got to tell you something. That mortadella I got last week in Haberfield, it wasn't very thin. But, you know, when you got...
And don't talk to me about Mr. Trump.
Well, you know... When it comes to mortadella, nobody knows mortadella more than me. Nobody knows mortadella more than me. I got to tell you, I had some mortadella when I was in Brooklyn, and it's the best mortadella I've ever seen, like no one's ever seen. Millions of people have had this mortadella. Billions of people.
And what would Rocky say to that?
Hey, you know, if you eat mortadella before you train, you know what I mean? You end up getting fat around the stomach, you know? And you take a shot. You take a shot to the guts from Apollo Creed, and down you go, you know? It's no good, you know what I mean? You got to forget about it. Absolutely. You know, just keep training and have your eggs. You know, have your eggs. 6 eggs in the morning. That's it. You know.
And what do you think about that, Arnie?
I don't know about eggs. I have 12 eggs a day. 12 eggs a day. I don't even take protein powder anymore. You know? Well, I said to my wife, Michelle, the other day that Donald Trump needs to eat more eggs. He has been eating too many of those mortadella rolls. And he doesn't look good. And if Anthony Albanese, my friend from Australia, what's your name again, Anthony?
Hello, yes, Barrack. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I don't even know how I got here. This is supposed to be an interview between Dom Vozzo and Grant Galea. You know, Dom Vozzo's Italian. You know, I've got Italian heritage on my father's side. Yeah, and I grew up in a commission home, and I go for the chefs in the...
Well, we've had enough of you, and we'll get back to me, because I'm the greatest president ever, the first African-American.
I can tell you, you were born in Kenya, okay? You weren't even born in Hawaii. Don't lie to people. Okay. Well, as you can see, Dom, they're starting to argue. So.
And when Bob Hawke came out of the grave.
Well, I told Albo, I said, listen, mate, don't worry going about the commission home and the South City Rabbitohs. Just worry about fixing the country up. That's all you got to worry about, mate.
I was Prime Minister for 12 years. People now look back at me and say, yeah, you weren't a bad Prime Minister after all. I mean, I know Grant Galea didn't like you for the first few years, but looking back now, he thought, you know, you weren't that bad after all.
Amazing, man. You're amazing.
Well, that's just, yeah. I don't know what happened to me there, Dom. They just jumped into me and possessed me.
Last word by Donald Trump.
All I want to say is go and see Grant's show, okay? We haven't mentioned the show. Because listen to me. I'm telling you something, okay? I'm going to win bigly. I'm going to win in November. I'm going to win the election. And Grant's show at the Canada Bay. Canada. I don't even know where Canada Bay is, to be quite honest. I don't know where. It must be somewhere in Canada, okay? Anyway, he's going to be performing there on November the 9th. Which is a Saturday night. It's a dinner show. The food's great. It's all Italian food, I believe. Italian food. A lot of Italian people. They're great people. I know a lot of Italian people. I know billions of Italian people. Anyway, go there and watch him do this show because it's called From a Dean to a King, okay? I told him to call it From a Dean to a Trump, but he called it From a Dean to a King. The music of Dean Martin and Elvis Presley, okay? I knew Elvis Presley, very good friend of mine. He told me to run for president years ago. He told me. Anyway.
Listen, I'm going to play a track from your latest CD. I've got it covered, Grant Galea. And you like to revamp and redo a particular song, so I'm going to tell the people I'm going to play here. It's K-San from Chisels.
Yes.
Your version of Cool, Cool and More Cool.
Thank
K-San.
you. Big band
This is
version.
our very own Grant Galea.
I left my heart to the sappers round K-San, and I sold my soul with my cigarettes to the black market man. Had the Vietnam cold turkey from the ocean to the Silver City, and that's only other vets could understand. About long forgotten dockside guarantees. There were no V-Day heroes in 1973. And how we sailed into Sydney Harbor. I saw an old friend, but I couldn't kiss her. She was lined, and I was home to a lucky land. She was like so many more from that time on. Their lives were all so empty till they found their chosen one. And their legs were often open, but their minds were always closed. Their hearts were held in fast suburban chains. And the legal pads were yellow, hours long, paybackers lean. And a telex riders cladded where the gunships once had been. The car parks made me jumpy, and I never stopped the dreams, or the growing need for speed and overcame. So I worked across the country from end to end, tried to find a place to settle down where my mixed up life could mend. Held a job on an oil rig, flying choppers when I could, but the nightlife nearly drove me around the bend. And I traveled around the world from year to year. One found me aimless, one more year the worse for wear. And I've been back to Southeast Asia, but the answer sure ain't there. So I'm dreading off to check things out again. Last plane out of Sydney's almost gone. 7 flying
This is Grant Galea on Alive 90.5 FM.
And, of course, that was off his latest CD, I've Got You Covered, Grant Galea. Now, before I let you go, Grant, I always ask for all my interviews, one last question.
Yes.
And this is an interesting question because it's amazing how they answer it. If you're on a park bench and you're enjoying the view or the trees and the sea, and you could talk to anybody in the world, dead or alive, who would you pick? Can be anybody.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, that's fair enough. I've had that answer a few times. Yeah, that tells me a little bit about the man and tells me that you you're involved with that part of your life pretty heavily, which is great. So there you go. So you weren't expecting that one, were you?
No, I wasn't expecting that one.
That stopped you.
The other side of me was thinking of a woman, and there's a long list, starting with Sophia Loren and Claudia Cardinale, and on it goes, and Marilyn Monroe. But yeah.
Okay. I appreciate your time today, Grant. A really amazing, talented artist. And, boy, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming to Alive 90.5 and live in the studio. How lucky are we?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Dom. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.